Fortnite, the game that changed the gaming industry forever. Fortnite may appear like any other video game, but is just a small part of a larger empire that has the potential to revolutionize gaming forever. Epic Games, the company behind Fortnite, has spent nearly 3 decades laying the groundwork to create some of the most entertaining and profitable games in the world. Rather than simply creating a great game, Epic has established a network of businesses that virtually guarantee sustained growth, regardless of the most popular game of the moment. Tim Sweeney, the founder of Epic Games, has been methodically planning to dominate the gaming world for decades. Despite being a billionaire, he maintains a low profile and remains focused on his vision for the future of gaming. His ultimate goal is to create a fully immersive metaverse, similar to the one in Ready Player One. To achieve this, he is building the necessary infrastructure to power a metaverse like the Oasis, which is starting to worry big tech companies. Apple and Epic are currently engaged in a legal battle, but to understand what is happening, it is important to understand Tim's motivations and his unique business model. Tim Sweeney was born in Potomac, Maryland in 1970 and developed a love for computers and engineering at a young age. He spent his free time disassembling lawnmowers and playing Atari games, but computers were not widely available at that time. Fortunately, Tim was born into a family that had access to cutting-edge technology. His father worked at the Department of Defense, where he had access to the best computers of the time and could see the impact technology would have on the world. Tim also had an older brother who worked in the computer industry and introduced him to programming at the age of 11. Tim quickly became a natural programmer and began dedicating all his free time to learning about computers. His brother recognized Tim's raw talent and purchased an Apple II, which Tim used to start building software. Because of his father's connection to the DoD, Tim was able to access basic internet forums to ask experts questions. At the time, the internet was very small, and access was limited to those who worked for the government or major universities. Tim also developed a knack for business in high school. He worked at a hardware store and realized that the only way to make more money was to work more hours. So he quit his job and started a lawn mowing business, which allowed him to make 5 times as much money by setting his prices and using a tractor to complete jobs more efficiently. Tim's philosophy of seeking out the highest leverage opportunity is fundamental to most entrepreneurship. Create a system that makes money so that your income no longer requires your direct input. When Tim started college at the University of Maryland, he founded a company called Potomac Computer Systems. Initially, he provided consulting services for small businesses to ensure they had usable computer systems. His new business made enough money to purchase an IBM 286, which was a significant upgrade in computing power. Tim focused on building software for IBM computers since more businesses use them, and nearly every business required custom software to run efficiently at the time. He set out to create a text editor to speed up software development, but as he was building it, he realized he could build a simple video game using the same tools. He shifted his focus and launched a game called ZZT, which did well given how small the PC gaming market was at the time. This was in 1991. It's interesting to note that the distribution model Tim used to sell ZZT, a game he developed, was very similar to the one Epic would later use to sell Fortnite over 25 years later. Tim gave the basic version of ZZT away for free and allowed customers to pay for extra features, much like Fortnite's creator mode. Additionally, users could edit the game themselves and create their own levels, which is similar to how Fortnite works. When ZZT started selling well, Tim realized that he should focus on game development and put aside his consulting work. He changed the name of his company to Epic Mega Games and continued distributing ZZT as shareware. This meant he had to personally mail physical copies of the game to customers, but he kept 100% of the revenue he generated. Most game developers partner with publishers like Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo to push their games out to the public. However, Tim decided to grow his team and publish more games directly to customers because he wanted to keep 100% of the profits. He hired several key people to help him develop his next game, Jill of the Jungle, which was a 2D side-scrolling game. In order to make and sell this game, Tim hired Cliff Bleszinski, who was just 17 years old at the time, and Mark Reen, who had been working at ID Software making games like Doom. Doom was revolutionary at the time, selling millions of copies and introducing the world to 3D video games that could be played on a home computer for the first time. Tim wanted Epic to make a 3D game like Doom, but rendering 3D levels on basic home computing hardware required some really complicated game programming that only ID Software had figured out at the time. Tim saw this as an opportunity and set out to solve this problem for the entire industry. Epic would focus on developing two pieces of software: Unreal, a game that would compete directly with Doom, and Unreal Engine, a game engine that would allow any game developer to make their own 3D game without needing to do all that low-level programming. Unreal became popular soon after launch, but all the marketing and promotion that Tim did around the game really served to attract developers to Unreal Engine. The video game industry was starting to really take off in the late 90s, and developers wanted to focus on quickly releasing games without building an entire game engine every time they created a new title. Unreal Engine solved this problem perfectly and went on to power games like Deus Ex, BioShock, and Splinter Cell. By building their games on top of Unreal Engine, developers could release PlayStation, Xbox, and PC versions of their games without much extra work, thus unlocking new markets for game developers. This battle between two tech giants is just about making more money. There is more to it than meets the eye. Tim Sweeney, the founder of Epic Games, has a specific vision for the future of his company, which involves creating a metaverse. This would allow players to take their content from one game to another, such as Fortnite and Minecraft, and interact with each other in a virtual space. Being dependent on Apple or Google would make it difficult for Epic to scale as quickly as they want. Epic Online Services help new multiplayer games scale, while the Epic Game Store distributes games from Epic and other publishers. Epic also has its own studio and publisher for building and releasing new games. All of these business lines feed into one another, creating a virtuous cycle that helps keep the company growing indefinitely.